Alright everybody, welcome back to another edition here of Monday Night Raw. How are y'all doing? My name is Dominic, of course, behind the commentary table, and we are live and sold out in Milwaukee, Wisconsin for what is set to be one hell of an episode of Monday Night Raw, as we're kicking it off just like how we kicked it off last week with Rey Mysterio, the United States Champion. However, he is not going to be going up against Adam Cole here tonight. No, he's going up against another member of the Undisputed Era, Kyle O'Reilly, to kick off the show. Okay, it's one half of the Raw Tag Team Champions versus Rey Mysterio, the United States Champion. However, Rey Mysterio, he's got a lot of things on his mind right now. For instance, Tommaso Ciampa, because last week, okay, it was Rey Mysterio versus Adam Cole, a non-title rematch from SummerSlam. Okay, it was set to be a classic, but Tommaso Ciampa, during the entrance of Rey Mysterio, decided, you know what, instead I want to attack Rey Mysterio, and that's exactly what he did. He hit him with the fairy tale ending on the steel of the ramp. Before throwing Rey Mysterio into the ring, Adam Cole said, you know what, I guess it's a freebie. Hit him with the last shot, hit him with the Panama Sunrise, and at the King of the Ring pay-per-view, Adam Cole will be competing and trying to move on in that tournament. However, right now, this is not about the King of the Ring tournament. Right now, this is a one-on-one matchup. We got the speedy and athletic Rey Mysterio taking on the strike-heavy and technical masterings of Kyle O'Reilly. Okay, both of these individuals were met with success back at SummerSlam, with Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish successfully retaining their Raw Tag Team titles, as you can see, against the War Raiders, the team, of course, that will be facing off against Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson in the main event, but more on that later, as Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish also have to be thinking about what's been happening with them since last week, where last week the Lucha Dragons, Sin Cara and Kalisto, out of nowhere, it felt like, beat Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish clean as a whistle. Okay, a swanton bomb off the top rope, Sin Cara connecting, and then 1, 2, 3, it was over on Kyle O'Reilly. So right now Kyle O'Reilly is looking to make up for that loss. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly being the ones who attacked Sin Cara and Kalisto last week, following that loss, as now Rey Mysterio looked to go in for an attack of his own with that drop kick, but now, he's being met with the unique strikes of Kyle O'Reilly, but Kyle O'Reilly, however, gets stopped there, dead in his tracks, before Rey Mysterio now turns into a cover here. One. No, and only a 1 count. Quick roll-up victory for Rey Mysterio, but not just yet. As Rey Mysterio, he isn't done using his own momentum there. Sure, Rey Mysterio, he's a bit smaller than the average man in the WWE. However, he knows how to use his full body weight, to launch his opponents, as now he goes for a kick. However, this time Kyle O'Reilly reverses, grabbing him into a back suplex there, dropping him on the back of his head. However, now it's Rey Mysterio who dodges the kick. Goes for some sort of maneuver, goes to grab him, perhaps for a German suplex, but now once again goes for a back suplex, as Kyle O'Reilly, but Rey Mysterio now showing his athleticism, showing off his agility once again. 1. No, and again, only a 1 count following what looked to be a roll-up there by Rey Mysterio out of nowhere. But Kyle O'Reilly now gets thrown into the corner. And Rey Mysterio, he is not done. Hitting out with the strikes, thinking about Tommaso Ciampa, trying to lay out his frustrations, on Kyle O'Reilly. And speaking of Ciampa, he's going to be speaking about his attack last week on Rey Mysterio later on in the evening, as you just saw Bobby Fish decide to distract Rey Mysterio before Kyle O'Reilly quickly took advantage, stomping on his chest, trying to just cave his chest in before, wait a second, no, turning his attention over to the arm of Rey Mysterio. I was mentioning earlier, he's very technical. Okay, his ground game, Kyle O'Reilly, is incredibly masterful. Trying to hit him with that submission hold, trying to work over the arm with the armbar, but Rey Mysterio, he's a veteran. He has been in this business for a long, long time. He knows how to get out of it, and that's exactly what he did, as Rey Mysterio now trying to build some momentum, running across the ring, bouncing off the middle rope, and the cover. 1, 2, no, and only a 2 count there. Okay, hitting him with that diving splashes. Now he goes to hit him with a kick, but now once again Kyle O'Reilly reverses, grabbing him back, suplex again. Kyle O'Reilly with these vicious back suplexes over and over again throughout this entire contest. As now he goes for another back suplex, but once again Rey Mysterio turning it around into another roll-up victory, perhaps? No, and only a 2 count there. Rey Mysterio trying to get a lot of quick victories over Kyle O'Reilly. Perhaps that shows that Rey Mysterio knows just how dangerous Kyle O'Reilly truly is in that ring. As Rey Mysterio uses the ring to his advantage, bounces him off the ropes. Oh! Before leaping up, hitting him with a Hurricane Rana there, Rey Mysterio showing off that agility, playing off to the crowd right now. However, Kyle O'Reilly perhaps about to make him pay for it. As now, what is this? Oh! Belly-to-belly suplex launching Rey Mysterio across the ring. Now, of course, Kyle O'Reilly, not particularly the biggest man in the world, not the strongest. However, he does have a lot of size advantage here, using that strength to hit him with the belly-to-belly before hitting him there. 1, 2. No, and only a 2 count, hitting him with a thunderous brain buster. And then he just floats over beautifully into that pinfall predicament, but Rey Mysterio kicks out before getting met with that knee right to the face. Is Bobby Fish, the other half of the Raw Tag Team Champions, watching on as Kyle O'Reilly now has got him. Oh wait, no, perhaps not. Rey Mysterio now trying to get up here. What an exchange back and forth. Here we go. It's now, oh wait a second, connecting. 1, 2, 3, and Kyle O'Reilly picks up a victory over the United States Champion. My God. Very back and forth exchange. Okay, Kyle O'Reilly, he's been trying to make that his permanent finishing maneuver. Okay, that Regal Plex. Okay, we saw it last week during that attack. Oh, hitting it against Sin Cara. Oh, wait a second. Speaking of which, Sin Cara's in the ring. Sin Cara's going after Kyle O'Reilly right now. What the hell? Oh, wait a second. Oh, and Kalisto as well going after Bobby Fish. Okay, the Lucha Dragons are just taking the fight towards the Undisputed Era. Clearly pissed off about that attack last week. And here we go, over and over again. Those punches by Sin Cara, and now Kalisto and Bobby Fish are fighting up the ramp here. Okay, all chaos has broken loose between these two teams as Sin Cara and Kalisto. They haven't been on the same page lately, but it seems that they're on the same page tonight as Kyle O'Reilly gets sent straight into the mat. As Sin Cara hits that power bomb there before Kalisto now with the Salida del Sol of his own on Bobby Fish at the top of the ramp, and now Kalisto and Sin Cara have just laid waste to the current Raw Tag Team Champions. Well, either way, though, there you see them. It's Sin Cara and Kalisto. Okay, I was saying before, they haven't been on the same page, but ever since that attack, it seems that those two men, all they could think about is how they, as a unit, will beat the hell out of the Undisputed Era. But ladies and gentlemen, we've got an entire rest of the show to get through, starting off with what's going to be happening later on in the evening as Tommaso Ciampa will be explaining his actions. I mentioned it earlier, he's going to be explaining his actions on why he attacked the current United States Champion, the man who just lost to Kyle O'Reilly, Rey Mysterio. But that's not all, as Nia Jax will be making her in-ring return since WrestleMania. Okay, she returned at SummerSlam, shocking the world, attacking Asuka and Kairi Sane, just decimating both women, putting Asuka in a bit of a predicament in terms of her medical conditioning. More on that later, but Nia Jax, either way, is going to be fighting against Carmella. And we've also got a hot tag team main event. We got the War Raiders taking on Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson of the Club. Okay, this is the first time Gallows and Anderson have teamed up since being drafted over to Monday Night Raw, and I can't wait to see what they do against a dominant duo like the War Raiders. But now we are getting a rematch as Samoa Joe, the Samoan submission machine, he wants a fight, and he is pissed off that the last time he wanted to fight, he took a loss to his opponent tonight, Roman Reigns. Now, last week, Samoa Joe, he tweeted out to the world that he was desperate for a challenge, an open challenge. And King Booker said, you know what, Samoa Joe, I value you. I believe that you are a top star on Monday Night Raw. So I'm going to give you the main event. Whoever answers Samoa Joe's open challenge gets the main event of Monday Night Raw. That's primetime television, ladies and gentlemen. And what happened was Samoa Joe, he came out here, but he was not prepared for what had come alongside him. It was Roman Reigns. It was Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns. Very back and forth brawl between both competitors. And yet Samoa Joe, in the end, took the loss. Tonight, he's pissed off. He wants a rematch. And he's going to be getting it as Samoa Joe is set to take on Roman Reigns. Now, Roman Reigns, he's been on the tip of everyone's tongue backstage. And I ain't talking sexually, folks. I'm talking about Roman Reigns being the talk of the town, okay? His win over Samoa Joe last week might have put into perspective just how dominating of a performer Roman Reigns can be. Sure, he might not be the most technically gifted superstar. He might not be the most aerodynamic individual, okay? However, let me tell you this. Roman Reigns, he's got a lot of power. He uses that to his advantage. Samoa Joe also has a lot of power. He's got a huge advantage in most matches when it comes to the striking game, okay? His punches are like bricks being laid into your face. Samoa Joe, however, he counters that with his own quickness. Okay, the speed of Samoa Joe is incredible for a man his size. Roman Reigns, he's beaten Samoa Joe before using his own advantages, and Samoa Joe, he's looking to capitalize on those disadvantages. Okay, Roman Reigns, after his win last week, ladies and gentlemen, he might consider right now to be his big break. Samoa Joe, he's looking to break down Roman Reigns. It is the Samoan submission machine versus the big dog. It is the rematch from last week. Will Samoa Joe lose 2 weeks in a row to Roman Reigns, or will Roman Reigns be truly met with the unbridled force of Samoa Joe? Now, wait a second, Samoa Joe! Wasting very little time, going right after Roman Reigns the moment the bell rings. And now Roman Reigns seems to be stunned right now. However, he's trying to fight back. There you see the punches. Roman Reigns, those incredibly tough punches. And now it's Samoa Joe with the punches, with the chops, back and forth already by Samoa Joe. Okay, the speed. Okay, the technical mastering of Samoa Joe. Look at that! Jumping up into the Insiguri. Samoa Joe. Okay, if you asked me 20 years ago, who is the hottest prospect in professional wrestling, I would say Samoa Joe. As Roman Reigns, right now, he doesn't particularly have, oh my god, any sort of momentum. 1, 2. No, and only a 2 count. Of course, he's trying to ride the wave of momentum following his win over Samoa Joe. Okay, perhaps that's trying to play into the psyche of this matchup in Samoa Joe's brain. Roman Reigns, he's got that victory. Samoa Joe, he can't particularly say the same. And speaking of brains, the skulls that hold them collide as Samoa Joe hits him with that headbutt before once again using his incredibly massive frame to plop down onto the stomach of Roman Reigns. As now, once again, my god, Samoa Joe, he's not allowing Roman Reigns to breathe at all in this one, not to take a breath. Samoa Joe incredibly dominant with these punches, with these knees, with these strikes. Samoa Joe, he's trying to make an example out of Roman Reigns. However, Roman Reigns is trying to fight back. There you go. He pushes him into the corner. Perhaps this is his moment. Or perhaps not, as Samoa Joe once again. Oh god, what is this? Oh, powerbomb position. Oh, no. Oh my god. A bit of a shout out to Roman Reigns' Shield ally, Seth Rollins. With that buckle bomb there. As Roman Reigns now takes down Joe. And here we go, the punch connects. And another one for good measure. Turning him around that time. That's how hard Roman Reigns punches. Okay, he can turn you around. As now Samoa Joe is now behind Roman Reigns with a trifecta of, oh, belly to back suplexes. 2. No, and only a 2 count there. Okay, the Germans connecting on Roman Reigns, but Reigns still kicks out nonetheless. Oh god, before getting stomped on the back of the head. And that might have just woken Roman Reigns up. Roman Reigns, I think, is getting sick and tired of taking this punishment as he ducks underneath the clothesline. As now Samoa Joe, oh god, there you see Samoa Joe, his size being a major factor on this one, planting himself to the mat, not allowing Roman Reigns to pick him up. As Samoa Joe picks up Roman Reigns, oh god, Roman Reigns, he just gets up. Reigns just gets up. I don't know what's got into him. He is fired up right now. Hits him with the punches, and again, over and over again. Now this time he picks up Samoa Joe. Okay, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. You know the old phrase of Samoa Joe, this incredibly large man, gets taken down. But not for very long, as Roman Reigns now gets picked up from the ground. Or perhaps not, as Samoa Joe. Here we go. Roman Reigns with another leaping clothesline. As Reigns goes for a cover. 1. No, and only a 1 count. Of course, Samoa Joe's been very dominant in this one. However, Roman Reigns, here we go. He ain't looking so hot right now. Samoa Joe with the strikes again, the punches. Now he throws him across the ring. Oh, hits him with the back elbow. However, Roman Reigns, he's trying to fight back now. As Roman Reigns turns around there, and there you see, he's hyping himself up. Roman Reigns, he's trying to feed off the crowd. He's trying to feed off his own momentum. He's trying to build it up. He's trying to build it up to a big climactic victory once again, just like last week. But Samoa Joe, wisely, as you just saw, rolled out of the ring before getting taken down by Roman Reigns. As now it's Reigns who gets thrown into the barricade as Joe. I'm not entirely sure what he has in mind. Oh my god. Boot right to the skull, connecting. And then, oh god, throwing him into the ring apron just for good measure. The count is 7 by the ref. As now Roman Reigns, now he's trying to fight back as he runs into the ring. Samoa Joe runs into the ring as well. But Roman Reigns catching him with the punch. But Samoa Joe catches him there with the forearm strike. And then, oh, connecting there. Goes for the cover. 1, 2, he's trying to end this matchup, but Roman Reigns gets the shoulder up somehow, my god. As you can see, these two men are just battering each other. Roman Reigns, he's been trying to fight back, but Samoa Joe, this looming, dominating presence, might have just been taken down permanently with the spear. 2. No, and only a 2 count again. Roman Reigns with that spear, that could have been it, but Samoa Joe, quite like last week, kicks out of the first spear landed by the big dog Roman Reigns, as now Reigns hitting a headbutt of his own before Joe, oh, gets up and hits that clothesline, hits a clothesline of his own, but now it's Samoa Joe, oh god, now it's Roman Reigns, showing off that power, showing off that aggression, staring down at Joe. He's cocking his fist. He's got something in mind. Not entirely sure what. Perhaps a big punch. Or perhaps not, as Samoa Joe gets out of it. Oh, wait, Joe, wait a second. He's got him. He's got him in the clutch. He's got it locked in. Samoa Joe, he's got it. Roman Reigns, he's struggling here. Samoa Joe holding on so very tight, trying to choke the life out of Roman Reigns, and he doesn't. Well, Samoa Joe gets his own form of redemption here tonight on Monday Night Raw. Okay, showing off the athleticism, the agility, the raw power. Okay, and just the dominance of Samoa Joe, immediately kicking off the matchup with some huge strikes out of nowhere. And in the end, Roman Reigns, he tried his damnedest. Okay, you can see here in the replay, hitting the spear. But then Samoa Joe, okay, Roman Reigns, he was cocking his fist. Perhaps he was getting too cocky. Perhaps he was waiting a bit too long. Samoa Joe, he was healing there. He was lying in wait, okay, like a snake trying to squirm his way into that coquina clutch. And there you have it. It's Samoa Joe getting his revenge over Roman Reigns here tonight. It main evented last week, but we got some hot matches to get through. But first, Tommaso Ciampa, he has something to say here tonight. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Tommaso Ciampa, after brutally attacking Rey Mysterio last week, costing him his chance at facing off against Adam Cole, perhaps even moving on into the King of the Ring tournament. Tommaso Ciampa will be getting a matchup for the United States title against Rey Mysterio. Sure, of course, you know, at SummerSlam, Tommaso Ciampa lost in a hard-fought brawl between himself and AJ Styles in a Falls Count Anywhere setting. However, it seems as though King Booker is still impressed by him to give him a shot at King of the Ring for that United States title. Also, you gotta factor just the anger Rey Mysterio must be feeling following that loss via the hands of Tommaso Ciampa and, of course, Adam Cole. As right now, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of winning and losing, we didn't get to see who would be the winner or loser in the one-on-one match at SummerSlam between Kairi Sane and Asuka. It was all for the Raw Women's title because that woman, Nia Jax, made her shocking return to WWE. And tonight, she is going to have her first match since WrestleMania, since losing to Asuka at WrestleMania on Monday Night Raw. Here we go. Nia Jax is ready for a fight. And speaking of that attack on Asuka and Kairi Sane, following this matchup, we will hear from Asuka's medical professional. We will be hearing from her doctor about her current condition following that attack by Nia Jax. And it seems as though Carmella immediately out of the gate going with some strikes on Nia Jax. And it seems as though Nia Jax has not been affected one bit before hitting her there. Oh my god. Connecting with the headbutt and then using her size advantage to just crush the incredibly tiny, in comparison, Carmella. As Nia Jax is not done. What is this? Has her up. And then, oh, slams her down there. Looked like she was about to go over that Samoan drop finishing maneuver, but she changed her mind at the last possible second before Nia Jax continued the pressure. Here we go. Okay, the crowd watching on. Nia Jax just brutalizing Carmella right there, slamming her skull into the mat over and over again. Let's now wait just a second. However, it's Carmella slamming her elbow into the face of Nia Jax. And here we go. She's trying to fire herself up right here. Okay, I'll admit neither women are particularly fan favorites here on Monday Night Raw, but you gotta think Carmella is definitely coming into this one the underdog. As Nia Jax, this absolute destroyer, is being taken down to the floor. And here we go, Carmella. Carmella pressing her boot to the chin. And it seems as though the cockiness and the arrogance, perhaps, of Carmella is put on display once again, taunting the crowd, saying, how you doing? But she's got to be worrying about how she's doing following this matchup, because she is in there with an absolute monster, the irresistible force, Nia Jax, as the sheer force of that headbutt was just met with Carmella's forehead, with her skull, as now it's Carmella just getting stretched out there onto the knee of Nia Jax. The power on display, making it look damn easy. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a power that is absolutely terrifying. As Jax now, okay, more powerful than, I would argue, most, if not every single woman on the Raw roster. Perhaps even in all of WWE right now. And some might argue that Nia Jax is more powerful than most of the men. As Jax right now, oh, using that power, connecting there, runs off the ropes before hitting that leg drop. Okay, slamming down Carmella, who is just getting beaten down. Okay, the cockiness of Carmella earlier on has faded away, and it seems as though her chances at winning this have also been stripped away as she connects with that Samoan drop. Nia Jax connecting. 1, 2, 3. Looking down the head of the camera before the back of her head, Carmella's head, was slammed into the mat. As now Nia Jax celebrates her victory. She has returned to Monday Night Raw, and she is incredibly dominant. And ladies and gentlemen, if I was anybody on that Raw women's division, I would be terrified. Because Nia Jax is back, and she is back with a vengeance. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I mentioned it earlier on. Asuka's doctor has something to say. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you just heard, it seems as though Asuka will not be cleared to compete for quite some time, and you gotta remember, she's the Raw Women's Champion. What exactly is gonna happen with that situation? Not entirely sure, but King Booker, as you see right there, is gonna have to address it next week and figure out exactly what to do with the Raw Women's division. However, I want to turn your attention from the Raw Women's title to the Tag Team titles here on Monday Night Raw, as the Undisputed Era will be defending their titles against the Lucha Dragons. Okay, it's Sin Cara and Kalisto looking to get revenge for their attack by the Undisputed Era. It's going to be the Undisputed Era looking to get revenge on the Lucha Dragons for the attack earlier on in the evening. Going to be some hot tag team action, just like how we've got some hot tag team action right now. Okay, this is the main event of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. High stakes as always in these main event primetime matches, as we've got some tag team action with the War Raiders. Hanson on your left, Rowe on the right. Okay, it's going to be the power and agility of these two men going up against the fierce members of the club in Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson. Okay, the War Raiders, they wanted this matchup. They are looking to build themselves back up following their series of losses against the Undisputed Era. Okay, they were the first ever Raw Tag Team Champions. The War Raiders have cemented themselves in history as the first ever Raw Tag Team Champions. However, some other history that they're not particularly into is the fact that the Undisputed Era beat them, taking those Raw Tag Team titles, and then beat them again for good measure at SummerSlam. Two incredibly chaotic tag team matches, and I can't wait to see what chaos will ensue as the club. Karl Anderson on the left, Luke Gallows on the right. And it seems as though Finn Balor, the current Universal Champion, the leader of the club, standing behind him. As Gallows and Anderson, they're ready for some tag team action. Let's see what they can do. It's their first match as a duo on Monday Night Raw since the draft. Okay, quite a long time for these two men. Perhaps they've got a little bit of some ring rust when it comes to their in-ring tag team competition. However, we're going to see if they can defeat the former tag team champions. Or perhaps the War Raiders will once again put themselves back on top of the tag team division, inching ever closer to gaining yet another shot at the tag team titles. Okay, this is the main event. I can't wait to see what happens as we got the big man Hanson kicking it off with perhaps an even bigger man in Luke Gallows. Now Hanson, there you see, he's got a lot of power. He's flexing right there as Gallows shows off some power of his own, but of course Hanson also has a lot of agility in his arsenal. As now, Gallows, he's looking to match that agility with some intensity there, screaming out. He's feeling it here, the energy coursing through his veins as the leader of the club, Finn Balor, watches on idly at ringside, of course defeating Shinsuke Nakamura in what was, my opinion, one of the matches of the year thus far. Very back and forth, a lot of history there. Is now, Luke Gallows launches into Hanson, but Hanson, he's still standing. Hanson's still standing, this big beefy man. He is looking for a fight, and he will not rest until he gets that fight. And it seems as though he's bringing the fight over to Rowe as he makes the tag. Oh my god! Similar to, Finn Balor's own. A drop kick into the corner. The knees of Rowe being met with Luke Gallows as he's being set into the turnbuckle. Before Hansen follows it up with a maneuver of his own and then lifts up Luke Gallows by his head, by his bald head there before Rowe ducks underneath, throws him across the ring, meets him there with a forearm strike. Now, of course, Rowe has had some history with Finn Balor. He, too, has been in a one-on-one matchup with Finn Balor as now... Oh! Rowe's got to be thinking that Balor, he is very sneaky, he's very conniving. He knows what Finn Balor can do. He's the Universal Champion for a reason. He is one of the best competitors on the planet, and he knows what to do in order to help his fellow club members. And you got to be thinking that Finn Balor, he is just strategizing, planning what to do. As Rowe now, gets sent over the top by the combined force of Luke Gallows and now the legal competitor, Karl Anderson. Now, Gallows and Anderson bring very different styles to their in-ring offense. Okay, Luke Gallows, he relies more on his power. Karl Anderson, perhaps more on his speed and technical ability. As now, he tries to show off that speed running into that kick, but Rowe was a bit too fast for him, getting out of the way. As now Rowe, here we go. The incredibly powerful Rowe as well. Trying to fight back against the, speed and unorthodox style of Karl Anderson. As now Rowe throws Karl Anderson over the top rope. As now, it's Anderson who strikes back, however. As Rowe being met with that forearm shot, perhaps he's about to be met with something else, but perhaps not. Oh my God. 1, 2, no, and only a 2 count. My God, Karl Anderson just collapsing into the ring before, oh my God, collapsing again with that signature knee strike. Flipping him over there before a strike again, this time to Luke Gallows, taking him off of the ring apron, making sure Anderson can't get the tag. Smart strategy as Rowe uses that thick skull of his to fight back there with that headbutt style maneuver, dropping him chin first on the top of his head as Karl Anderson goes for an Irish whip. Rowe reverses. Very, fast-paced action you are seeing here on Monday Night Raw. As now Anderson, out of nowhere, the Anderson cutter. And the cover to follow. 1, 2, 3. No, and Rowe just a bit too fresh for that Anderson cutter to get the victory for the club. My God. Of course, Rowe, he hasn't taken too much punishment, but that might be about to change as some more tag team maneuverings connecting. As Gallows. Is the legal man before immediately going for a punch to Hansen, getting some revenge there, perhaps, for what Rowe did earlier. As now, he throws Rowe across the ring. What is this? Perhaps this could be it here. The Magic Killer connecting. He's taking the cutter. He's taking the Magic Killer. And now he could take a loss, but perhaps not, as Hansen, the big man, breaks up the count somehow. My God. As now Anderson immediately throws Rowe into the corner. He can't waste any precious time. He cannot allow Rowe to heal. He's taken so much punishment. And because of Hansen, ladies and gentlemen, he is in a lot of pain. But he kicked out. He got out of it. The War Raiders did not lose, as now Rowe makes the tag as Karl Anderson was too distracted by the tag to Luke Gallows. As Anderson, he's going up to the top turnbuckle. Hansen, now here we go. We've seen it before. A one-man wrecking crew as he's going after Gallows. Now Rowe is down after the hot tag. He rolled to the outside after taking so much punishment. And now, ladies and gentlemen, a roll-up pin. No, and only a 2 count there as Gallows tried to get a cheap victory, a quick victory over Hansen as Karl Anderson finally leaves the ring. Trying to interfere in the match did not go good for him. He just took some punishment, being thrown down off the top turnbuckle. As now, what is this? Luke Gallows now. He ain't done as he goes after Rowe, throwing him off before throwing Hansen back into the corner. As now, looks like some more tag team maneuvering by the club, by Gallows and Anderson. The combination of strikes into the corner. Hansen ain't looking so hot as now the cover. 1, 2, no, and only a 2 count following that flurry of tag team offense there. My God. The War Raiders proving why they were the Raw Tag Team Champions, as now, oh, there you see the rocket kick there. Blasting off and perhaps blasting off into a victory. 1, 2, no, and again, only a 2 count. Row at the last second trying to run in, but I don't think he would have gotten in time as Hanson, oh my god, he just got up. He just got up following that vicious boot to the face, as now another boot connecting, running into it, as now Karl Anderson punches Row off. Row is down, as now Hanson, he's trying to fight back. He saw that he's all alone now in this 2-on-1 situation as Row is down on the ground. Before Hanson gets taken down there onto the mat. And now, oh, wait a minute. Karl Anderson with another Anderson cutter. They're showing off some strength, picking up the big man. 1, 2, 3. And just like that, the club win. Okay, Gallows and Anderson with a big victory here. What tag team action, my god. Hanson and Rowe showing off what they can do in the ring. But of course, Gallows and Anderson, okay, they took hold of this matchup pretty early on. Sure, we saw some back and forth offense throughout the fight, but it was mainly Gallows and Anderson. And perhaps that is due to the unpredictable nature of the lack of footage over the past few months. Perhaps they've been adding some new tricks up their sleeve. Perhaps they've been trying to formulate exactly the perfect way to return and get a victory. And just like that, Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson got their victory. Too sweet for them as well. And ladies and gentlemen, Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson are riding high off of an impressive victory over the former tag team champions. And wait just a second. Well, Paul Heyman's here. Oh, well, Finn Balor, the leader of the club with Gallows and Anderson watching, Finn Balor, to close out the show, has just learned that his King of the Ring opponent is Brock Lesnar. How will Finn Balor react? We have to see next episode of Raw, but ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna be it.